people are, I think, I don't know, maybe it's part of the new frequency change. Because it seems to be, if you look at, I was noticing on a couple of my, uh, well, I shouldn't say friends, but just people that I know, their business pages on Facebook, just in the last like months, everything's dropped, like all their likes and shares, and like there's something going on in
Ah,
the media, social media, I think there's
yeah.
been kind of a drop in the actual interaction between people, possibly. I'm not sure, but it does seem like there's something happening there.
Yeah, well, that makes sense because I was feeling that there was a change. Something's changed, something's different.
Yeah,
Um, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And I think you probably just, hit the nail on the head and highlighted that.
maybe. Yeah,
Funny
maybe
enough,
so.
I bumped into a friend of mine who's a yoga instructor, locally here. And we go into the same barbecue tomorrow. We were like shopping for like
Aw.
stuff. We're like, oh, it's you. Oh, it's you. And I said to her, things have been really quiet and very, there's not much going on. She said for her, it's been total opposite. People have been
Ah.
signing up left, right, and center to come to her class. I'm like,
Hmm.
well, you have to send me the recipe because this is weird.
Send me your surplus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So changes this month, as predicted, um, stuff's going to change. So I'm looking forward to that frequency change this
Hmm.
month again. So I think it's going to be exciting
Yeah.
and new insight.
What are you thinking, Henrietta? I'm really curious. You're so quiet. I know
I'm
you've got
just
lots of
taking all
thoughts.
the information in now.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, what you said, I guess, about people reacting to the solar flares, because being here in London, it can be very like hectic. Like sometimes I do believe subconsciously, maybe I'm very attuning to the what's going on at the background. And when the Philip said about the Saturday when it was happening, London was like, I would say it was reactive state because I felt like drawn into this vortex of something. There was a high communication as well there, but I was sitting on the grass at that moment, so that kind of felt really like um, grounding and assuring, being connected to the earth. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I guess being connected to the earth, I guess that's one of the important things,
I
just to
agree
be.
with you.
Yeah.
I go barefoot. I try to go outside at least once a day barefoot and just put my feet in the ground if I can, if I think of it, because it really does make a very big difference in all of it.
That's
Really
true.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the
And with the fear
one
as
of-
well, like healing certain things, definitely it brings a lot of unresolved stuff into the surface
Yeah.
that must be addressed. So yeah, I see
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I remember, yeah, one time I was it was the anniversary of my mother's death, and she was really close to me. We were very, she was my person. She was my mirror, that I knew I existed because of her. I knew how to be because of her, which is very common with mother children relationships, but it was toxic. But either way, long story short, it had occurred to me that that was the anniversary of her death, and it had been about probably 8 or 10 years had passed, and I suddenly became aware of it. And I was sitting in my car, and it was a beautiful day outside. I'll never forget. It was a beautiful day. She died on June 19th of 2011. And so I suddenly had this flood of grief hit me, kind of that's mind numbing, like, whoa, 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 whoa. Everything became real again, and I started missing her. And immediately the thought came to me, um, to go outside, just turn the car off. I was in a parking lot, and I looked over and I saw a patch of grass. And I remember I felt the need to get out of the car, take my shoes off, and just stand in the grass. And at this point, this was still kind of early in my journey of like learning about, hearing the term grounding was kind of a new thing, fairly new to me. I had never done this before, and the very first time I ever did it was for this particular reason. And I was guided to do this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the Holy Spirit told me to do this, no doubt, because I did. And I'm telling you guys, it was the most incredible amount of everything I needed. I don't know how else to explain it. You know what I mean? Because at the time, I think it changes. We all need different things at different times.
Yeah.
And it's like just listening to the guidance that I was getting to go outside and put my feet in the grass and put my face up to the sky and close my eyes and take a deep breath in. I felt everything I needed to feel in that moment to be set right again. And I mean, it was a combination of sadness, and it was a combination of relief. It was a combination of joy. It was the fruits of the spirit. It was love, joy, peace, patience, kind. It was all those things, or whatever specific ones I needed at the time that
Yeah.
I received. It was very powerful. And it was just from just stepping outside. And a lot of it's awareness, though, too, because I think this, we can go outside and put our feet in the grass. And if we're not intentional about what we're doing, I think intention is extremely important.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on intention? Because I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
Yeah. Intention, for me, intention is the nuclear power station of the soul.
Okay.
It's what creates. We don't create with thoughts, we create with intention. So
Yes.
we create in that way. So even before we've already processed or analyzed the thought, the intention is already set. So I'll be talking to some people or someone at some time, and they'll ask me a question. So what do you think about this situation? What should I do? Or do you think, what are my options? And my first response is, but you already know what you're going to do. You already know the option. And in that moment, they suddenly register, oh my God, yeah, I already know what I'm going to do. So that intention is buried deep within. And this is something that when we practice meditation, and this is something we try and harness, and this is something I teach on the course on how to get into that frequency zone so you can feel at that level, so you can understand. And as you say, it's about perception. And we can only raise our perception as high as the frequency we're actually embodying at the time. So we can, with intention, move awareness into different frequency states. And this is something that I teach in the course, how to move that intention, or that awareness, sorry, how to move awareness with intention to different frequency states. So
awareness and intention are two different frequency states. Is that what you said?
no. I'm talking about moving awareness, moving your awareness. So, yeah. Typically when people first start meditating, I remember this happened to me when I first started. It felt like instead of being aware of where I am in this space, in this time, in this frequency, usually, as one of my masters said to me recently, is that it's the triangle here.
Okay.
This is how we experience life.
Okay.
That's the position of the awareness. This is the place of awareness.
Okay.
Which includes the third eye, and it's this triangle here on the nose. So everything we do,
So upside down triangle or pointed up?
No,
It matters.
like that.
Okay, that's what I'm going to make sure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's like that.
All right.
This is
Okay.
awareness is located there. And I remember when I first started meditating, I would sink into the meditation, and I would feel as if I would move backwards, and then I was actually experiencing from about this far behind my head.
Yes.
That was the
Have you,
perspective I was getting.
yes. Do you
So-
remember the picture I drew of the it's behind the eyes from
Did
the
you
inside
send-
out? Yes.
Did you send it to me? I don't remember.
I don't know if I did or not. I think I did, but that's exactly what I had a vision of the same type of thing.
Yeah. So this
And
is
it
what
came out in my
happens.
art, yeah.
Actively moving awareness
Mm-hmm.
to different states. So moving the awareness from there to back here, that's a different frequency already.
Yes.
Yeah. So now
Yes.
what we do on the courses is that we teach you to take that awareness
Okay.
and to move it into the deepest place of meditation, which is surrender. And this is where you find all the universal secrets. And this is where you communicate. This is where you connect. And this is where you can move different frequencies, different dimensions. Could be across time, could be any way. anyway, but you have to be in that state to be able to access it. So it's imperative to learn where it is, because it's a feeling, because we feel frequency.
Yes, we do.
We know that, everybody knows this, but we feel the frequencies, those meditation frequencies, as we descend through them. It's like layers. I call them layers. Like the top of the ocean is the conscious state where we are now. And we dive down into the first 10 meters, like 30 feet for you. So you can imagine that kind of size. That's the process of allow ourselves to enter into that state. So it's like a blanket on top of the ocean. Below that is surrender to the bottom of the ocean. Huge place to explore. But we need to go through allowance to get to surrender. And this is
Okay,
what we teach how to do that. How do we do that? Because that's where the magic happens.
Allowance. Okay. Just surrender. Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah. It's one of the second last modules in the course is surrender, how to surrender and where is it. So we need to feel. I help you to discover what surrender is. And I remember for me, because I was doing the practice, I was just experiencing, and I didn't have labels, and I had to sit down and create labels so that I could actually share this information. So I had to label these things. So it could be understood. But I was just doing it. And one day I found, wow, I can't get to surrender. I've broken something, or I'm broken, or I couldn't get to surrender. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get there. So I gave up on the meditation. And what I did is I did a different meditation where I actually asked my higher self and said, so what's the deal? Why can't I get to surrender? And the short answer came back, which was so funny. And the answer was, the phrase was, the reason you can't access surrender is because you're already there.
It's acceptance.
So I was trying to get to surrender, but I was already there. So as soon as I choose to meditate, I'm already in surrender.
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
I didn't have to travel to surrender. So once you know where it is, you can just recreate that environment with intention, and you just go bang, straight in.
And then you don't have to go through the process of everything.
Yeah.
Would you say that it's necessary to go through the process for everybody at the beginning?
Well, everybody's different. So, putting people in the box, we should be careful.
Well, I agree.
Because everybody's got their own method. For example, for you stepping onto the grass and feeling yourself connected with the earth is your way. For me, it's the ocean. But it's the same thing. I remember a few years ago going into the ocean in southwestern France. And when I walked into the ocean and I sank myself down to this height and I just floated, suddenly I just felt this, whoa, this expansion. And I felt like I was healed from something. What? I don't know. There was a tremendous amount of healing. I was like, wow, I just want to stay here. It's one of those, it's one of those moments. So yeah, we're all different. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, we're difficult. I don't want to hinder, or I try as much as possible when I talk to people and when I try and help them, to give them the tools to make progress, is not to interfere, but just to add components to empower themselves so they can make more progress on their path, not on my path. And it's the first thing that I say to them is, I'm not here to do the work for you. I'm here to teach you how to use the tools. Because once you walk away after the course, you will have the tools, and this is when the work starts. This is when you start discovering.
That's how I teach music. I teach music the same way.
Exactly.
Same way.
Yeah. So
same thing.
You have to allow yourself to integrate those tools during the course. And you don't realize it's happening, it's integrating. And then at the end, when you start doing the work for yourself, and suddenly you realize, whoa, but you've made the tools your own. So you've tweaked them, you've moved them around a bit.
That's right.
It's for
See?
you.
Yep. I love it.
So that's the process. And I know you do the same with your, when you
The
teach.
sound flow method. Yeah, the sound flow. You have like a soul flow method
Yeah, and I'm still
or
waiting for you
something.
to
It's
teach me that. I'm still
a
waiting for that.
flow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. But it's a flow that it's a method that you do. And it's very effective and appealing. It's
absolutely.
appealing.
It has to be, otherwise it doesn't work, does it?
Yeah,
It's got to be.
doesn't resonate.
Yeah, correct. It's got to resonate. So yeah, we've definitely got to do another session where you can take me through it if you don't mind.
I would love to. Yes, I would love
Yeah.
to do that. Anybody, yeah, absolutely.
Because I understand the concept, but I have no idea what to expect. Nothing.
Yes.
I have
Well,
no
pretty
awareness.
much what you're doing. It's just applies it to sound. I mean, it's really fascinating how similar what you're saying, the methods that you're talking about are apply to what I'm doing when I teach sound and how sound moves. And it's making me really want to go back and look at all of it right now because I'm wondering the application of some of the elements to the sound flow method that I have that actually would be very relevant to life, and my own personal growth and spiritual development. I'm
Yeah.
kind of curious now how it could
Yeah.
connect.
So I'm curious how I could potentially integrate those skills into what I'm doing to,
Right.
to improve them or expand on them or
Expand. Yeah.
anything I can add in to make it better, then I'm all go. I'm good. I'm ready. I was born ready. I like to say that sometimes. It's actually a very old saying. People say that a lot now. But years and years ago, it was like, whoa, okay. That was like something out of the blue. But yeah.
Oh, hang on a minute. I had to plug my phone in and I think I interrupted my.
What happened earlier? Because you joined and then as I was about to admit you, then suddenly you disappeared.
Oh, there we go. I think I figured it out. I had to plug my phone in and there we are. I got it now. Am I back?
Yep.
Okay, good to go.
I have a question about still doing human things. Are you able to do all the things? Because there are days where I just want to just sit still and just be in here. I don't know. And I just wonder, are you able still like do the things and everything?
Who's the question for?
So how the spiritual practice has to be integrated in a human experience. That's what
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, like as in like day to day, how to integrate
Yes.
the spiritual walk. Oh, okay. I've had experiences with this because of my awareness starting at such a young age, at 5 years old, my relationship would be the term that people might use with God. We're just going to use old school terms and apply the new concepts to it because it's still true. And that's the coolest thing about my awakening and what I've discovered in it is that's never changed. It's been the same presence and the same awareness of the same spiritual entity or being or collective, all of that. It all fits into that. So I found that it's an awareness. It goes back to what Philippe said about awareness. It's all about what you're thinking. So when you're thinking about the facts, the truth of your spiritual state of being, that you're really in the spirit, it's like a constant conversation or dialogue, I don't know, that I'm having all the time. And on a good day, on a day that I feel really connected, I would say that I am listening always, and I am putting everything I am doing, any choices that I'm making, even little ones, I am looking for not necessarily signs, because I think sometimes we just know in our no, we don't have to have a sign to know that it's the right thing to do. But I am watching the fact that I am aware that it's the right thing to do. Does that make sense? And so like I am just, it's all an awareness of the reality of where you are in spirit and that the spirit is very much part of every single moment of your life. And it's like, I don't know, conversations, you just kind of randomly just think about things, and then you just start in your head. It doesn't have to be such a, like you were saying, you don't have to sit down and really get into yourself. It doesn't have to be that way. That's honestly, that feels like a luxury to be able to sit nowadays, to be able to sit and just, it's almost a luxury. So I think that's a really great question, because that's reality. What you asked, that's reality. People are trying to figure out how to do this every day.
I guess it's also about the communicating with other people. Sometimes I feel like I can deliver the message or just speak with people as like more or less normally, but sometimes I get, like their frequency interacts with my frequency, and sometimes it can be very it's balancing.
Yeah, kind of static, like a staticky.
Staticky, and sometimes I can feel like I feel like I don't know how to say how I feel like.
Do you feel like maybe it's like they're resisting what you're saying, or is it that you're not sure what to say?
I guess I'm not sure what to say and how to communicate, I guess. Normal, like day-to-day things, I guess. Sometimes I feel like it is kind of like how you and everything like this, although
I feel like we are we are not of this world, but we're in it. And I think that a balanced person, when I would picture a balanced person, or someone that I look at, that person is able to acclimate to the energy and frequency around them without it affecting their own personal spiritual awareness. And that's the goal. So the goal is to not require anything of anyone else, and to be able to adapt and acclimate to your environment, because that's what's going to make it where you're able to be heard. And so sometimes it's okay to just go with the flow, even if it's not the big flow that you're feeling. I guarantee you, the spirit is a small, quiet, subtle voice. It is not invasive. It does not press itself onto you. It doesn't press itself onto anyone else. So if you're feeling like what you have to say is pressing on someone in that invasive way, it's probably not the spirit anyway. It's probably, a bunch of other things that are getting mixed up. You know what I mean? So I would say that if that's happening, just take a deep breath, and then just kind of be in the moment and go with the flow. And it's okay to adjust to their vibration, as long as you're aware that you still have your own, and that you're, aware of your own boundaries with that. I think that's an important part of balance.
I see.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's an interesting, but it's true. It's a hard situation. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I can give you another example to highlight. Perhaps it will make it a bit more from a different perspective, let's say. So when you first awaken to the fact that you are on the spiritual path, that initial awakening, let's call it, potentially your awareness of the other side, let's call it the other side, starts off at 10%. So your whole awareness is 100% in the physical. So in the beginning, when you have an awakening, it's like you inject 10% into that into that window. So now 10% of your life will be spent on considering spiritual aspect, doing some research, learning new skills. So that's what will happen. But as you do that, as you raise your frequency, your awareness, that awareness expands. So it goes from 10 up to 15, 20% of your life, 30, 40. Eventually, when you get to about 50%, you start to wonder, why am I actually working in a normal job? Because it doesn't feel right anymore. Because now I'm switching over into this other awareness, and I tend to want to take the rest of it and say, you know what, I don't really want to be part of that. And in moving into that intention frame of mind, that awareness grows more and more and more. So eventually, what's happening to this awareness that's shrinking?
Right. That's what the question was. Okay.
That's what we call the ego. This is the ego that's going, oh my God, I'm becoming less important. Yeah. And this is
Yes.
essentially where people go into the dark night of the soul, where the ego goes, what the heck is going on? Rebellion, rebellion, rebellion. Because the ego realizes I'm not that important any longer. So that awareness becomes more spiritual, less physical, and you lose interest in doing physical stuff. Like, why do I have to go to the shop to buy food? It's such a pain. I don't want to do it anymore. As a very bad example.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. As a very bad example. So eventually, when we get to the point of ascension, is when that 100% block is just spiritual awareness. That's the shift. That's how I see it.
So
Does that explain? Does it give you a different perspective into what you were asking?
Yes, it does. Yeah, I see that. I guess, but how do you interact, I guess, still with other people? So, yeah.
what's an example of like a conversation, or is there something that's happened recently that you could help us understand maybe more what you're talking
Okay.
about? But
Sometimes,
Conversations, yeah, I tend to, I don't have a big circle of friends any longer. I myself don't particularly, I don't hang out with my own age group because this just doesn't work for me. My friends
I
are
prefer children.
in their 30s.
Hmm.
I've got, 4 good friends, and they're in their 30s because we've got a similar
Hmm.
awareness. So we
Yeah.
can talk. When we get together, like we're getting together tomorrow, we're going to go paddle boarding and we're having a barbecue afterwards. And we go down this road. We have these discussions and we
Hmm.
fix the universe. We spend hours
Right.
like, brainstorming. So
Hmm.
because we've got all similar outlooks. So I find myself distancing myself, and people that don't connect with me, don't communicate with me, it's fine. I just let them go because we don't have anything in common. And you just have to understand that. For many years, I felt very much alone because I was carrying around this briefcase full of stuff that I was given, but I
Hmm.
couldn't say anything because people would think I was.
Yep.
So I was carrying this stuff around and I couldn't use it.
Hmm.
That was frustrating.
But it was a lesson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the biggest teacher, patience.
Yeah. It's pain. Pain is a very big teacher.
Yeah,
Discomfort.
yeah,
And
because we don't
that's the
want.
purpose of it. I
Yeah,
mean, that's the whole reason why we make mistakes are very much necessary. They're part of our existence. For us to resent a mistake is it's almost disrespectful to the sacred. Mistakes are sacred in a way because they're part of the creation and they're because it's part of the process. I mean, you look at any artwork created by any artist and you look at their hands while they're creating it, they're not going to be very pretty. There's going to be paint. I mean, look at my thumbnail. You see that? It's got all kinds of black in it, and now that's because I was making something. You know what I mean? And so beauty is built on ugly. Beauty is made, literally would not exist without the mistakes. I mean, gosh, it really it even alleviate it elevates when you realize that it elevates you above it so much that you don't even have time to feel guilty or shame. You don't feel guilt or shame anymore because there's nothing to feel guilt or shame. It's not even there. It's not even relevant. That's what's happened to me. It's not relevant
yeah,
anymore on that level. It's relevant in the physical consequences way. Like, oh, I probably shouldn't do that because it's going to hurt, but that's about as much as it is. It doesn't go on that deep soul shattering, guilt ridden shame. It's not like that anymore. And it's a real experience and it's got purpose. Everything does. Everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the learning is in the failing.
Well, that's the point, and that's the
Yeah.
whole purpose. There's no in spite. I don't know if you saw that video on my YouTube channel, but it's the in spite of. I can pick up. Wait, what was it? I catch things well because I've been good at dropping them. I clean well because I've been good at making messes. You know, when you live
Yeah.
for something instead of in spite of something, the energy and the benefit from the experience is so much better.
Yeah. And
So,
people don't achieve because they run from failure. And they don't even
oh, I know.
some people don't even attempt something because they have a fear, I'm going to fail. So they've
Right.
already lost even before they've
And
even started.
and then they reinforce it by shaming and guilting themselves. Shame and guilt is a reinforcement of negative behavior. It will continue it. It's literal food for the mistake. So when I sit there and beat myself up, guess what, guys? I'm going to end up doing it again in some other way. I have not learned the lesson yet.
Yeah.
My ego got in the way, and now it wants to sit there and feel sorry for itself. Self-pity is a big one, man. Self-pity is a bitch. It'll
Yeah,
get you. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What do you?
And this falls squarely in the domain of fear, you know, and if you just do it once, if you can just jump in and give it a go once, you'll realize that that fear doesn't have that much of a hold over you. And you can go and try new things without
Yes.
being, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it.
Oh, yeah.
You got to cross that threshold.
Just open your eyes.
You just need that
Just
first
look.
experience to
Just
change
look.
everything. Yeah.
What are you dying to say? I see you over there. You are she's over there just what are you thinking?
Henrietta's just hoovering up all
Henrietta.
the stuff.
I'm just listening. I've always been like this, I guess. I always would be just observant at first, and I guess
Oh, what are you
taking all
thinking?
the information. So yeah, I guess I can see this. Sometimes there are these feelings of shames and I guess guilt and perhaps doubts as well about certain decisions I made in life. And I can see now, I guess, what if I done wrong? And but I can now feel, I guess, the part of me that actually wants to make mistakes and
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
if that's okay, you know, and do certain things that maybe says like it's not appropriate to do in these days.
Yeah.
I don't know, like to see. I don't know, just curiosity, I guess. That's how I
Yes.
feel. I'm curious
Bingo.
about it. Yeah,
And
that's how I
sometimes it's
feel.
okay. And that's okay. I mean,
Yeah,
it's okay. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it,
good.
Yeah.
We're meant to fumble around. That's the only way we're gonna know where we are half the time is because our senses are we have so many senses that we aren't even aware of. I mean, in this
yeah,
other realm. So when you think of it like that, I have a feeling we're gonna find out that these mistakes, as we call them, weren't mistakes at all. Like that even in our minds, like there's
Yeah.
nothing, it's all good. Every bit of it is
Well,
good. Every bit.
it's just perspective. Our perspective. We were
Mm-hmm.
taught to judge
Mm-hmm.
those things as negative. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Because they are all just experiences. And the fact that somebody says, if you can't draw a straight line, then you're no good. That's the
The
main
world is
thing.
trying to confine us. The world is meant to confine us. That's its purpose, is to confine.
Yeah, it's the
And
experience.
so
Yeah.
it's doing its right. I mean, it's doing exactly what it's meant to do. So therefore it is good. It is meant to be that way. But what's better is that I'm aware of that now. I am good now and I can be aware of that. And that I don't have to fall into that system, the world system. You know, I don't know. There's just a lot. Good topic, y'all. Good one. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
raising our awareness so we can be more aware of, as you say, I'm aware
Yeah.
of this today, and tomorrow I might be
Mm.
aware of, oh, there's something next to that I didn't see before. And those are the discoveries as you raise your frequency, personal frequency. Those are the discoveries that you make. But yeah, it's a journey. As Anna says, this is why we're here.
It's interesting, Henrietta. You mentioned other people, and that's interesting you said that because I've been thinking about that myself, wondering just the dynamic of other people, including that whole because this is real.
I guess like last, I don't know how long? A few days ago, we had a gathering in the garden, and I guess I just wonder, do I have to embrace my human side more? I guess because I feel like I'm a bit maybe restricting myself in certain human experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why I feel like
That's
yeah, because I usually like I have this like straight like beliefs, no meat. Like obviously, it's mostly is mental blocks that I put on myself, I guess. But one of the ladies brought in some beer, and for the first time, in I don't know how much, I just had one bottle of beer with everyone else,
uh-huh.
and I don't know, and I just feeling, did I done that? I guess I have to be more relaxed in the human experience. I guess that's how I
Well, you
see it.
can be. Yes, you can be.
Yeah,
You
because
can. It's
Yeah.
yeah, I
okay to do.
usually don't do these things, but yeah, but it feels a bit different because everyone had different
Mm-hmm.
perspective on the things and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Well, and that's
just
where your boundaries come into play because their perspective, you just have to remember that that's their perspective and you
yeah,
don't
and I
superimpose their perspective onto your own and remember that you have your own. I think that's awesome that you did that. And it probably was very liberating for you in
I
some
guess it was
ways.
a bit interesting at some.
I'm sure.
It was yeah,
But the thing,
because
yeah, sorry to interrupt. I've got a thought that I think I really want to share with you with regards to this discussion, is that I see something like that as an opportunity for growth, an opportunity for potential development. What secret, what's buried in that event? So if I get invited, like I was invited to barbecue this evening, and then I was invited to barbecue tomorrow. So I'm going to go to both because why? Why is it happening?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's
You're
in there? I'm going to explore, I'm going to look, I'm going to find, there must be something in there. Why was I drawn to that? Why was I
yeah.
asked to join that group? So look for the treasure in every
hmm
situation.
yes,
That's how I found you, Philippe. I mean, it was
Absolutely.
random. It was just a random, and those random moments are what our futures are made of. Those are those things that make us who we are the random things that happen all the time. So those are, he's right. Pay attention to those. You're right, Sleep. That's good.
I
That's
heard
good.
a very interesting analogy of what time is. And I thought it was brilliant. And I sometimes forget it, but I'm being reminded of this for some reason now. And it goes
Uh-huh.
something like this. Time is something that holds moments together.
hmm Yeah. And it makes it into one solid life experience.
It holds moments together. Because as we know, with mindfulness, which is the new buzzword for meditation, is about being in
hmm
the moment and appreciating the detail of that moment. And then when we string them all together, like we do,
Of a lifetime.
like when we watch a movie, we've got
hmm
these little pictures, moving pictures, individual moments. Then when we sling them past at a certain speed, everything moves and becomes real. So I see
Hmm.
life, I see the path as something
That's
of
int-
moments joined together.
right. That's very cool. I like that. I'm picture I'm writing it down because I don't want to forget some of the things that are real good good for my brain pantry, my mind pantry, food for thought.
Yeah. But
Lots of that.
I can send you this recording anywhere so you can have it
Oh, I
yourself.
would love to have it, but I still am gonna write down some things that I think are something I could ponder later. Something else about time that I don't know if we've mentioned, it was maybe ties in, but it came to my head, so we'll go with
Mhm.
the spontaneous. But
Yeah,
so this is something I came up with a few years ago, and it's a saying, and it's today is yesterday's future, and tomorrow's past.
great.
And
wow,
I liked that because it was useful to me. I'm not saying it doesn't sound just, it's not just a cool sound. It really was useful for me. Like it changed some things because what I was doing was that I was getting so caught up in the moment and justifying that because it sounds good to say, oh, I'm just in the moment. I am being, I am this. But then I was neglecting elements of my future, because obviously our future happens because of the things that we've done in our past. So I was basically justifying being a complete hippie bum. I don't care this, I'm going to be here and I don't really, and being kind of irresponsible.
Yeah.
And I went through that process. But that realizing that right now I am in the past right now, and I am also in the future right now. So
Yeah.
I can affect my past right now, because when I said that, it was in my past, and I affected it because I said that, because it was in the past. Does that make sense? I mean, it sounds a little
It's
screwy.
just gone. Yeah, it's just gone.
Yes, but in other words, I have become more aware of a practical application to affecting my future now. So I've become aware that the things that I'm doing right now are affecting my future.
Yeah.
And so it's not that I'm unaware of my future, and it's not that I'm living there either, and that my mind is only there, and that I'm not able to be in the present moment because I'm thinking about the future. That concept kind of makes it where you can be everywhere at the same time. You're in the past and the present and the future, which is godly. It's a godlike nature. It's a nature of God to be that. He's, what is it? Omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. That whole concept of everything. It's outside of time, but yet inside of it too, because it feels like I'm more inside of time when I think of time like that. And it affected my responsibility, my love, my awareness of being responsible as an adult and being productive and things like that. It really helped me to understand the purpose of being aware of your future and being aware of your past. So anyway, but that's interesting about time.
Yeah.
A lot of things about time.
And one of the biggest teachings that my master taught me was the fact that human life is a result of cause and effect, as you just reminded me as you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We live the effect because of the cause.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And round we go. But unless we identify that, unless we identify with it consciously,
Mm-hmm.
we are a slave to the causes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't change the cycle.
Right.
The cause just keeps going round and round and round and round and round. It's the same.
Right. It is the same
one
loop
from the original coding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's that cause and effect. So if you change, this is why humans suffer, because we fear change. We don't want to change because it's don't touch anything. It's working fine. And this is the problem. This is how we don't evolve, because we don't want to move forward. We want to stay stuck where we are because it's comfortable.
Right. Well, what if we stop calling it a problem and so much as an opportunity, like you say? You say that.
Yeah, it's a choice, an opportunity.
It's an opportunity. Yeah. I mean, because it's suffering is there for a reason, right? I don't know. It's I'm not a masochist by any stretch of the word. I don't like to suffer. I don't like pain. But I definitely I guess I view it differently.
Yeah. You know what the biggest driving factor that causes emotional pain?
Yes, you told me. I'm not.
This is something that I teach on the course.
Yes.
Why? What is it that
I thought it was expectation.
The pain.
Okay.
The emotional pain. And if you read, I was talking to a chap in Texas a couple of days ago. We were having this very same conversation. And he was around, he was going in the right direction, trying to understand and contemplate this issue, what causes pain. The primary reason for emotional pain is because of expectation.
Look, I literally wrote it down. It says expectation. You probably can't see it, but I did. I wrote it. See, I pay attention.
Yeah.
Expectation.
Expectation.
I love it.
And we judge others because we want things to go a certain way, and we want people to react a certain way because this is how I would react, so this is how they should react. And when they don't do that, we go, oh my God, you've just driven a sword through my heart. So that it's so painful because I expected you to do the same as me. Expectation.
Yeah.
If you don't expect anything, if you just allow everybody to be themselves without that magic word, the judgment, which is expectation's best friend.
Yeah.
You get rid of those two guys, then we're good to go.
Yep.
Now,
Beautiful.
curiously, that makes me ask another question. Okay, so that segues maybe into ability and self-worth. Okay. All right. So we're getting into some stuff now. I can feel it. We're going. You guys ready? Okay. So my mother, when she started homeschooling us, when she did the testing, the whatever it's called, the placement test, not the placement test, but the oh, I can't even think of it. My mind's gone blank. The yearly testing that you do to make sure that you're learning what you need to learn.
Your SATs, isn't it?
Yeah, that kind of, it's that kind of thing, yes. But it was like for like, it was in Missouri where we lived, in Arkansas, there were laws. It was like every 2 years we had to take a test.
Yes.
Well, my mother was so afraid that we weren't going to pass the test, that the state was going to come take us away from her, right? That because she was so nervous, because homeschooling was relatively new when I was homeschooling, and there were all kinds of rumors and stories of people getting arrested and kids getting taken from their parents and stuff like that. So my mother was a lot in fear, in that way. Because of that, she had us test a grade lower than what we were actually in, to make, be on the safe side. So we always passed her. They were super easy. And but what that did though is it fed my lack of self-worth, maybe in a way that, or maybe that's what started it, was thinking that I wasn't capable. So I have very low expectations of myself. Therefore, I don't produce. And now that's my question. Where is the expectation? Does it play a part in my ability to perform, or my ability to understand my capacity to perform? Where is expectation? Does it have a place? Because I'm big into shadow purpose,
Yeah.
and it's a shadow energy for sure. It's not necessarily good, but I'm wondering what its purpose is. It's there. Is it just there to teach us not to have it, or is there an element of it that we can apply? I don't know. I am literally just thinking of this. What are your thoughts on that? Because
I think that immediately when you spoke about that, my go-to feeling is that it's got not the type of experience you're talking about has nothing to do with expectations. It's
okay.
about fear, and of course a lack of self-worth, which is every single person on the planet suffers from that. And this is what we're trying to regain. But it's the fear. So fear of there's X number of loss, failure. It's the fear aspect. It's not relative to the expectation part, from what I'm understanding.
Well, see, I feel like I would, if I expected more of myself. Maybe it's not. Maybe expected is. I don't know.
Expected is here, but fear is behind. Is causing.
Oh, absolutely.
Is causing a blurred vision, a blurred view of expectation.
But what if I had a healthy expectation of myself? Then it wouldn't be backed by fear. And that's what I'm wondering. What does that look like? Is there a way to have healthy expectations of something or something?
Yes, there is. Yes,
there is. Okay.
Yeah, because you know if you're going to go do something tomorrow, you know you're going to go and do it. So that's a healthy expectation.
Right.
You know you're going to do it.
Okay.
Unless you keep letting yourself down. Unless you don't do those things. But then we've got to look at the cause, and the cause is fear. It's not the expectation.
Right.
Does that make sense? So fear is the one that causes the issues. And the others are, like expectations, are layers on top of it. So we got to go back down below expectation into what that fear is
Mm-hmm.
and identify that particular event on its own. Find the duality, assign responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
then we resolve fear. So basically, this I've just told you exactly basically what we do on the course. We drill down through those aspects
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to get to the core. What is that core? Identify that, and then we can change that
Mm-hmm.
without all the fluffy, all the coverings, all the dirt on top of it. So we can see, we
Mm-hmm.
need to see it clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And we deal with each event as a separate entity, because otherwise there's too many causes and too many effects. We can't see them clearly. So we deal with each event separately. Find the cause, find the effect, find the duality of the experience,
Mm-hmm.
the hot and the cold side. Yeah, we fail, and then that's the cold side. And then we succeed, that's the hot side. So put it together, that completes the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Move on to the
Mm-hmm.
next one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a complete, that's the duality of the experience, which is what this dimension is about. 3D,
Mm-hmm.
here, there, and in between. That duality.
Yeah,
Really
because
don't miss that.
I do want to be content. You know, I feel like there's a very strong push to be discontent in our experience as human beings. And I don't believe that that is truth. I believe that truth provides a level, it offers peace. And it's a, I mean, think of the fruits of the spirit. I mean, I keep going back to that, but it applies
Yeah.
because and it works because
But that's
if it
learned
leads
behavior.
to discontentment, there's
You-
some, you know what I mean? There's
You're describing learned behavior.
okay.
We are taught that to be discontented with our lot. We have to be
I mean, that's
better.
all I hear online. It's
We
like
have
I
to,
don't, you know, this world is all this and not. It's like, well, we're still here, y'all. We're
the
still here.
drive is to be better. You have to be better than the neighbor so that you can get the better job and you
Right.
can be more successful.
Competitive.
It's
Yeah.
that drive. This is the message.
Oh, well, yeah. But I'm meaning more in the spiritual community. I hear that a lot. Like the whole just discontentment of this world sucks and I just want to go to 5D and forget about all like there's a that's to me that doesn't ring love. That rings fear to me.
You know what's going to happen is when they do leave, they'll miss this place.
Well, see, that's it. It's like you guys,
Yeah.
it's right in front of you right now.
This is
Everything
what-
you ever, yeah.
Yeah, this is what they don't realize. And I don't like to judge, but I'm possibly thinking potentially these people may be young souls.
Yeah, probably, possibly. I don't know. I mean,
not
young in their awareness, even just young in their awareness. Yeah.
young in their awareness. That's
Mhm.
a better way
Yeah.
of putting it. Young in
Yeah.
their awareness. So they're like, so they complain. And
What do you want to say?
I used to complain when I was younger, and then I learned. Now I don't complain because I view things from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Miss,
Yes.
go on.
What do you got to say, Henrietta?
Beautiful. I guess young awareness, it's a really nice label. Well, label. Yeah, name for young souls. Wow. Yeah, it definitely gives a bit more clear perspective, I guess, for my own certain situationships. I can see, the certain actions I can take to certain parts of myself, I guess. So I feel like, I feel positivity now and more assurance in certain choices
Good.
I guess you have to make. So
Yeah,
That's
but
wonderful.
don't forget that when I'm talking about young souls, I'm not talking about young bodies.
Right.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You know?
Young in their
So
awakening. Yeah, that's
you
what.
yourself could be a very, very old soul, but you just happen to have a young body at this moment. So I'm talking about young and inexperienced souls that will complain until their awareness
Yeah.
reaches, and then they're going to go, "Oh, why was I complaining?"
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah. That's cool. That was such a great question, though, Henrietta. I mean, I struggle with that a lot, and I have been pondering, like, how do you function in this world? Like, it is difficult when you have that level of awareness and you're interacting with other people, especially when you're getting truth downloaded onto you constantly and you're seeing things, the discernment that's required to know what to say and when and to who, it requires a lot of intentional awareness and tuning into the spirit and just going with the flow and being very compassionate with yourself and very patient with yourself on it, and makes those mistakes. It's okay. It's a good thing. It's okay. As long as it's not hurting anyone. You know what I mean? Like if you knowingly not hurt, you're not knowingly hurting someone or taking something from someone, it's self-love. It's not selfishness.
Yeah.
That's the difference between self-love and selfishness. Selfishness takes.
I know.
It takes. Yeah. Right. I mean, gosh, like I believe it. I know you know. I would love to know a lot of things you know because you observe a lot.
I guess
You're
I just like to first to take all the information in. I don't know. I just always been like just present and
yeah.
just listening, and then
I love
whatever
that.
comes, it just comes. So yeah,
But there's a higher purpose in that. You don't realize that now.
I don't, being
You
honest.
don't. You
Like
can't, you can't, you have to arrive into that awareness.
I
The
know.
reason why you do that. And that's retrospective. You know, when you go a little bit further down the road, you look back and you realize, oh, wow, you know what? All those times that I did that, I'm reaping the benefits now.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. It always does. It's like a ripple effect from the past.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. It was such a cool, encouraging thought for me, was the whole, I've learned this before. I know what to do. And it was like this moment of gratitude I felt for my life. I mean, I'm 42 years old and I have lived and I know things now from experience on this world, in this world, in this earth, on this earth. And I remember being 16, 17 years old, wanting that, wanting people to take, because see, I knew this stuff when I was 10, but nobody heard me because I was 10. And so now it's a little different. People are more willing to listen to me sometimes because I do have some more authority with what I'm saying. Although the message is still the same, it's never changed. But because we live in this world and we're around humans that are not aware and that are waking up every day, you know, I have not been taken serious, and that's okay. I've had to learn things through that experience of just listening, like you said, observing. See, I'm an auditory verbal listener. Like I am listening because I'm talking. Like I am hearing the conversation and what we're trying to do, and I'm watching your responses and I'm reading everything and, you know, empathically feeling what's happening. And so for me to sit and be quiet is probably not a real good sign all the time, because that means I'm probably zoning off onto something else. So the way I stay plugged in is usually by yep, you know, verbally, and I do that a lot. So if I do that too much, please tell me. I will push mute because it's more for my benefit to keep myself focused and in here. So but I do. I mean, that whole realization of just, I have the experience now. I've done this, you know. It matters. Everything that I have done and everything I haven't done on purpose, it matters.
That's the treasure. That's the treasure in life, because that's what you take with you when you leave. Yeah.
Right. That's right. Yeah. It's those experiences, those moments, and those lessons that you've learned.
Absolutely.
And the memories and the people that you've affected, the impacts that you've had and the impacts they've had on you. I mean, and telling them, people need to know. People love to, that is so encouraging to hear when anybody hears that. I don't care how the most high influential people in the world still get something from somebody saying, thank you. I appreciate you speaking. I got something from what you said. You impacted my life today. That is encouraging to hear. I don't care who you are. It's encouraging to hear that. So I always say it. If you think it, say it. If it's a positive, good vibe, speak it. Don't hold back. Tell somebody. My daughters taught me that, you know, and it's true. I mean, children are better about that. They just, oh, you're really pretty, or, you know, they just say things. And I love that about children. And there's so much to learn from babies. I don't hush babies. I want those babies to even learn so much from just a little baby. Just the way they look at you and they're telling you what they're seeing and what they know. They're showing you their wonder, their sense of wonder. It's always there. even with under the snotty noses and stinky diapers. I mean, it's so, I mean, it's beautiful. I know, isn't it great? I miss it. I miss it. I miss it so
Well,
much.
but listen, guys,
Mhm.
I'm going to have to be rude, and I'm going to have to end this meeting today
Okay.
because I've got
Other stuff.
people downstairs. They start lighting fires and doing things, so I've got to go
Ooh.
and join in.
Well, good.
Not burning the place down. No. We're not
No,
doing
no, just figuratively burn it down, right?
that. Absolutely.
Not literally.
Thank you very much both for attending. It was great
Thank you.
to catch up.
Namaste to both of you. I'm thrilled to have been here. Beautiful.
And
Yes.
we must do this again, and we must schedule this your sound system teaching.
Yes, we'll figure it out. Absolutely. We'll be in touch for sure. So
Amazing.
yeah. It was great, you guys. I'll see y'all later. Thank you.